I was a little boy, my mama would care for me. But when I became a strapping man, I embarked on my destiny. Adventure became my daily bread, endurance was my prayer. I learned to succeed with truthful words and taking the steepest dare. I became a foot soldier of love, a foot soldier of love. Recently graduated to the place a little above. Along the highways and byways, through in and throughout, in the campfire's glow of endless campaign, my soul was turned inside out. I have met the enemy, and he is us. I should have been killed 10,000 times, but I never forsook my trust. Stung with epithets and clods of earth, I was treated with mistrust. And in my darkest hour, when all hope was lost, I became a foot soldier of love, a foot soldier of love. Recently graduated to the place a little above. Well, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to tonight's show. I'm your featured soloist. My name is John Wilcox. And I know that many other artists have what they call their solo careers, with backup vocalists singing the doo-wah-dip-dip while someone's on bass, with a drummer and keyboards. Next, you have the percussion section. And then over here you have horns. Lead guitarist, rhythm guitarist. Pretty soon you got a whole symphony orchestra with timpani and violins. You call that solo, do you? Meanwhile, here am I, up here. Not so much as a kid to help me turn the pages. And by the way, this is not a cappella. I do have accompaniment. This here guitar. But I'm not going to play it for right this second. Just in case you were wondering, yes. Where did I come from? What did I do? Well, that back there, that is what's called an opera. And it's designed for theater. It's center stage with a microphone. That's it. You have to use your imagination. And it's called The Husband. And what it's all about is a young man falling in love, as you could figure out, getting married, having children, singing lullabies, and then finally, in his old age, the sad departure of fatherhood and the melancholy of the kids. He's done well. They love daddy very much, but they're gone. Okay? They're on their own, impacting this world, as did I. So what did I do? Well, a portion of my career, I used to work in Hollywood. Holly weird. Tinseltown, oh, that vast mecca of American show business, which has fallen into a deserved disrepute these days. But back in my day, it was pumping. I did stage lighting for television and motion pictures and live stage productions. Some of them not all that much different from this one. But hey, easy does it there. I was nobody special, just a grunt. I would have to work under a lighting director. And it was the 80s and the pay was good. And even though back then I didn't have any ambition to become an actor or anything, but I did know that eventually I'd be doing something like this one day. And yes, so in that sense, I was apprenticing to the craft. Now, I do have advisors. They're all over my case. They want me to give you a brief resume of what I did in Hollywood as just a stagehand, okay, and doing lighting. And I'm like, they don't want to hear about that. And they're all like, yes, they do, John. You have to tell them something about what you did. And I'm like, well, I was resistive and now, okay, all right, yeah, all right. One year I did the Oscars at the Shriners Auditorium. I did a lot of work for the Hollywood Bowl, Music Under the Stars. Across the valley is the Greek Theater where they put on plays like Shakespeare and stuff like that. And then every major sound studio in Hollywood, Disney, the Burbank Studios, which used to be Jack Warner's old lot, right? And Paramount, MGM, and of course CBS, Television City, and NBC. Yeah, I did, Carson Arts Productions. And, over on La Brea, A&M Records and Tapes with Herb Alpert, who's getting up there, but, in his day, wowee, baby. And the Chaplin stage, where Charlie Chaplin's, he started United Artists, and Charlie Chaplin, of course, is an icon in, Hollywood show business, that kind of thing. And his old soundstage is where, a lot of rock videos back in the 80s were produced. Hey, you name it, yeah, I was probably there, hanging lighting, trucking stuff in. And notably, at least a dozen and a half, maybe 2 dozen episodes of Soul Train. Now, Soul Train was really a lot of lighting technique going on. So those were 22-hour days. And, you do what's called a turnaround. They wear you out, and the pay, even though it's good, it's never enough. But my bread and butter back in those days was Merv Griffin Productions with all those game shows, right? You know them all. And the reason I feel that I got a lot of work was because at the time I had this great big beard. It was a gigundo profundo. I mean, it was huge, as we say in New Jersey. And it all started out, I had just turned 30. And I had what I called the Black Forest. Every morning, I would be shaving off, last night's growth. And my beard was so thick. And I called it, the Black Forest. And one day I just said, oh, the heck with it. I'm tired of this. If I shaved at 5:30 a.m., I'd have a 5 o'clock shadow at 12. Okay. If I shaved during the afternoon, wasn't enough. If I planned on going out that night, I would have to shave again. 3 times a day. I was like, forget about it. I hate this. So I said, well, what happens if I grow a beard? So I started. And of course, you guys and you gals, some of you, you start to grow a beard, and at first, it comes in, it's a nightmare. It's all scraggly looking. You look like, like a homeless person. Mine looked like the underside, those discs on the floor polishers that those janitors use, like, right? It was all over the place. Oh, no, this is not going to work. It's terrible. But about 6 to 8 weeks later, it really started to take shape. And, 9 weeks later, I looked like a college professor. I was all noble looking and very elegant. I was like, wow, look at me, And 19 weeks later, I had a beard. And 36 weeks later, I was starting to look like a Civil War general. And 56 weeks later, it looked like a half of a semi-truck tire had simply grown out of me. You can't see my hands, but it was out to it was it was down to my waist. I looked like a cross between that cartoon character Yosemite Sam and freaking Moses. It was, it was long, it was bushy, it was thick. I had this giant handlebar mustache where I never waxed it, but if I had, I could have hung barbecue utensils on it. The big flipper on this side, the slotted spoon on that, the tongs over here, right? A couple of colanders. And it was a gigundo profundo beard. And of course, I think I got a lot of work because people say, look at the freak zone guy with my long hair and a ponytail and my t-shirt, and my jeans, and my steel-toed boots to meet OSHA requirements. I was a character. People say, hey. So that's why I got a lot of work. Now, my big Hollywood audition, I wasn't looking for it. Like I said, I didn't have any ambition to be an actor or anything, but one day I'm standing around on one of those Merv Griffin game show sets, countless. Oh, man. This guy walks over to me and says, hey, John, the director wants to see you. I'm like, yeah, okay, tell me there in a minute. And I'm wondering, what the heck could that be? That job wasn't that hard, So I go over to him, and I'm like, yeah, what is it? He's sitting in the director, says director on the back of those folded chairs, This is what happens. This is what he says. He says, oh, John. And he takes one of his business cards out of his pocket, and he starts writing on it. And this is what he says to me. He says, John, I'm not casting, but a friend of mine is. He's making one of those prehistoric movies. You should try out. So I take the card and I dial the number and I make all the arrangements. I get on over there. I get shown through a door into this big, long, empty room with nothing at all in it at all whatsoever, except way at the end there's a desk and there sits Hair Director. And he's crying. He's going, and I'm standing there with my long hair and a ponytail, my gigundo profundo beard. It's not down to my knees, but I could tuck it into my belt at this point, right? And my t-shirt and my ratty old jeans and my steel-toed boots, and I'm standing there looking at this guy. And he looks up, and this is exactly what happens. He says, don't say a word. Just act. You are the chieftain of prehistoric tribe. Be a caveman. Go. Hunger. Hunger. Mahakalui. Hunger. Mahakalui Makawe. Hunger. 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 Whoa. Padawanda. I don't want to make a Louis McCoy. Neaky, neaky. Tiki, tiki. Come here. And with that, Herr Director announces, "That'll be enough, thank you. There's the door." And he goes back to crying. And I went back to hanging lighting on pipes over at Merv Griffin Productions. Now, years later, I think I saw the movie. You know, it was a caveman, and the guy who won the lead was obviously far more qualified and wanted to be an actor. All right. And eventually the beard did come off. I saw myself in the mirror one day and said, "That's it, that's enough." I shaved it off. I became a clean-shaven member of society again, instead of looking like a prehistoric troglodyte. And that's my big Hollywood audition story. Welcome to the show. There's more, but we'll put that on at a later date. Right now, I've got to take a call.